morning and welcome to the Roundtable on OGTV. Nigeria is a blessed country with over 250 ethnic groups, each with its own language, traditions, festivals, crafts, and unique heritage. And this morning we are exploring a topic at the heart of national identity and economic growth, that is talking about harnessing Nigeria's cultural potential for socio-economic benefit. And this we'll be looking at on the program today. I am not alone, and I want to tell you that it's good to be on leave and it's good to be back from leave. I have with me co-presenting this program this morning, Doyinsola Ogunbadewa. My name is Morenikeji Shobaluju. Doyinsola, good morning.
Good morning, welcome to the show, everyone. And I say thank you for being there since I went on leave. And I want to really say that I watched some of the programs and I love them. And you know, people will know that this is a professional. So you did well. And I'm happy to be back on our roundtable. It's my pleasure. And the topic we're treating today, my co-presenter has already mentioned it, and I want to let you know that today we're going to talk about our own heritage, what we need to do to make sure these things does not go into extinction, and how we can harness it for the economic benefits. We're going to really enjoy the show because we have our guests right in the studio. Over to you.
Anyway, yes, like we don't do this program all by ourselves. We look for resource persons who also join us in dissecting and analyze all this topical issue. My name is Morenikeji Shobaluju once again, and joining us in the conversation is a strong cultural enthusiast and of course a public affairs analyst who is also very prominent and popular on this show. So join me as I welcome in the studio this morning Mr. Ayuade Shoruke, starting from my, my right here. Good morning, Mr. Ayuade.
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you. Nice having you join us on the conversation this morning.
It's my pleasure.
Thank you so much. Yes, also, like I said, we have in the studio another cultural enthusiast, a lover of culture, a promoter of the culture of the Yoruba people, especially when it comes to Egbaris. Join me as I welcome in the studio this morning, Chief Owolabi Mustafa is also Akin Fiwa Tolu, and a stakeholder in what we are talking about this morning. Good morning, Chief.
Good morning, and I'm glad to be here with you. Thank you for having me.
Thank God that you are also ready to, burn all the cylinder and let's talk about this thing this morning. Yes, we're looking at harnessing Nigeria's cultural potential for socio-economic benefit. Like I said earlier, Nigeria is a very strong and a blessed country with over 250 ethnic groups. But of course, the question is, how well are we utilizing this cultural wealth and for national development, job creation, tourism, and global relevance? But we'll start from, his appearance says it all this morning. So I'm going to start from Chief Owolabi this morning. Talking about harnessing the Nigerian cultural potential for socioeconomic benefits. Let's start from there. How do you react to this? How best do you think this can be achieved?
Well, thank you very much. I will start by saying people that forget about their culture or heritage, they risk losing their identity. And that is one part of me that I don't want to lose as a Yoruba man and as an Igbo man first. So harnessing it to benefit the generality of people is another issue. In order for us to be able to get culture to benefit everybody or to bring economic development, we must treat it like a business. Right now, we just treat it like something fun to do, something that makes us feel good. But in order for anything to bring economic benefit, you must treat it like any other business. And there must be deliberate investment in that sector. Just like we invest in tech, we invest in education, we invest in tourism. We have to dedicate a lot of resources into building that industry. And it should be treated as such. That is the only way that we can have the potential or the probability of using it to elevate our people. And culture is just that the government is trying, but they can do more. It's a low-hanging fruit for us that we have already. All we need to do is to strategize, rebrand, and treat it, just like I said, as a business. And with that, we will see a lot of improvement in our tourism, in our creative sectors, and it will give a lot of employment to our youth.
Okay, thank you, Chief. That's an insightful one. But, you know, let's consider the fact that cultural tourism is a kind of a source of revenue generation, is a revenue generator. When you look at the Oshogbo Festival, the Argungu, the Fishing Festival, Doba Festival, Nigeria is such a Lishabi Festival. Pardon me, Ojudioba and the likes. You know, Nigeria is such a blessed country, really, and these are things that would be a source of revenue if you know, fully tapped into. But let me find out from you. You know that some of these things, like you said, more like low-hanging fruit that is not fully tapped. But how can Nigeria strategically convert all of these cultural assets into economic value? What best way do you think you can advise for the country to make good use of it? Because we have foreign countries who rely solely, like we have oil as a major source of revenue generation for the country. So is culture and tourism a major, you know, means of generating revenue for other countries. How can we do this and achieve this also to be a supporting striker for us as a nation?
Well, someone has said oil it's not been great for Nigeria because it's actually more like a curse. We have neglected other vital area that could have been a source of foreign income for us. We talk about this cultural promotion. You cannot harness culture properly until you have, you know, create what they call awareness. We know we wear clothes. Some of you wear, you know, clothes that you like, but are you really wearing cultural? Are you really promoting your culture with your appearance? That's one thing. So the government, or well, it has to be government now because they run the day. They have to invest more into promotion, into reorientation, into education. From there, you will see the potential of what it could be. For instance, the government of Ogun State has created a lot of what they call industrial hubs around the state. What is stopping us from creating a cultural hubs? They've invested a lot of money recently in Olumo and yielding dividends. So we have to understand that when you invest into something, it will yield the fruit. And so that's why, you know, but, and I have to correct something. The job of government really is not to create business. Their job is to create an enabling environment for business to thrive. What they can do is to create those infrastructure that allow those private capital to come into this sphere. When they come into this sphere, they will be able to invest enough capital to be able to, you know, nobody put money down and want to lose it. That's why you see businesses are thriving and government are failing. So they will create the environment that is required for these cultural hubs to survive. I'm talking about infrastructure, road, airports, the train can be faster, we can have more, you know, Lagos is just very proximal to us. We could really tap from the millions of people that troop in from in and out of the country. Then we talk about our local economy itself. I've talked on so many shows before. This is the Adire capital of the world. It's part of our culture. Our forefathers don't import dye from overseas. They used root and leaves to make their dye. And they still make durable Adire. They don't itch, they don't do anything. But now we have this synthetic dye coming from China that we use and that they destroy our fabrics and all kind of stuff. Then you can scale that back a little bit to what they call tapping into the natural resources we already had. We were cotton grower back in the day. Cottons are what they used to make all this fabric we wear. So we should develop an industry around our culture, particularly in the fashion industry, where we can take fashion from cotton to couture, where you're able to plant this thing and be able to do all the finished product out in Nigeria. With that, we will get more foreign exchange, we will get visibility around the world. It will actually boost our image as a nation. So it's a lot that could happen.
Okay, before we move on, talking about the investments, you mentioned deliberate investments when you were talking. So Now, if you also mentioned that government is, let me say, pace setter, they give us the environment to
For business
create
to thrive.
business. Okay, now, how well do you think a private sector can invest or even perform in investing in the culture sector? Like maybe private investors that wants to come into tourism, cultural festivals, and the rest that we have. How well do you think they can thrive?
Thank you very much. You know, I've talked about government creating an environment.
Yeah, apart
The
from
environment is
government.
not just the infrastructure.
Okay.
I'll give you an example of what they are doing in tech.
Okay.
People in businesses want to make money. If they see the potential of making money in the business, they will do it, and there's environment to do it. I'll give you one simple example. When you give tax holiday to people, to investors, it's like a magnet for them. So you give them holiday for a number of years for them to develop these industries. So the government is not known to develop anything. I mean, you can look at our education sector, health sector, and whatnot. But when the private capital come in, it has to be a long-term investment. You give them that tax holiday, and the environment is conducive. They will come in and put their money down. But you have to first do what they call orientation and let people even know that this thing existed. We are all a cultural people, but how well do we use it? I'll tell you, a lot of young people are making money from culture now, just from social media. They take picture, they take video, they post it and make it. But larger than that, what can we do to export our culture? And I'll give you another example. Look at our young men and women that are into Afrobeats. Those are things they tap from what our forefathers used to do. Now they're able to take those things global. They are sitting in their bedroom earning dollars every day. The government have to do strategic partnership with this group of people for us to be able to generate income.
Okay, but as good as it sounds, so don't you think that we are having challenges doing all that? Because if China, Brazil, and the rest can import their own dye and fabrics into our own space, and it's now being difficult for us to export our own, don't you think there is a problem?
Well, I'll give you an example of what's going on in the United States. We're a developing nation, but we really have not taken care of our economy. That's what they call trade deficits. Government needs to look at our trading partners and how well are we doing with them. How much trade are we doing with the United States? How much trade is the United States doing with us? What Trump is doing is actually, even though people think it's just bravado, but listen, he's generating a lot of income for his country. He said, okay, if I'm buying X amount of billions from you yearly, there should be reciprocal. That you should be able to also buy X amount of things from me. Now the problem with us is that how much are we producing that we can export? That is the catch-22. So we have to first develop the industry before we can start now talking about competition.
Okay.
The markets, the world market is large. We just need to tap into it, but you have to have something to sell other than oil.
Okay, away from that, talking about development and, growing these sectors to ensure that we're able to harness properly for the economic benefit of the country. But of course, let's look at tourism and global influence. Now, this time to Mr. Ayode, you'll be attending to this. And, it's so unfortunate that we have a lot of these potentials talking about, here in Ogun State, there are a lot of tourism attractions, there are a lot of tourism sites. The Emoji is there, Biliki Sunshugbo Shrine, the Olumorok of this world, and these are things that has gained global recognition, but of course not being properly harnessed to the benefit of the country or the state that owned them. And why do you think Nigeria is struggling, that's the question, to fully develop cultural tourism despite the rich cultural heritage? I was talking about all the availability of this the cultural festivals, and Chief was quick to say Lishabi Festival, and you are also saying Ojudioba and the likes. Many of all of these things. Why is it so difficult? Why are we struggling as a nation?
I want to appreciate all that Chief has said, but let's pick it from, I'm happy you mentioned the issue of orientation. Let's pick it from when some of us were in school and we were using the Alawiye. That was teaching us our culture by J.F. Odunjo. There are some things that we crammed in Alawiye that if you ask me to recite them now, I will still recite them from beginning to the end because they become part and parcel of me. Some of those things did not only teach us our way of life, taught us about who we are, and he spoke about identity. I think that is where we need to pick it from. I always use this analogy when issues like this are being discussed. When we were in school, they taught us in social studies that Mungo Park discovered River Niger. This is the same River Niger that our forefathers had been fishing before Mungo Park was born. And somebody gave us a textbook and told us that Mungo Park discovered River Niger. And since then, we have been teaching it to our students up till today, and we don't want to lose our identity. We don't want to lose our culture. This is where the problem actually starts from, in my own opinion. What materials are we putting out there to talk about us, to talk about all these sites that you have mentioned? Look at Olumo Rock. Olumo Rock was mentioned by one of my teachers when he was teaching us geography and we were discussing rock. But it was not in my Goshelong, it was not in my bonnet. The textbook that we have teaching geography. But because the man is familiar with the terrain, he was able, and those were sites that we could relate with. It got to a point he was talking about undulating island, and he started using Shagamu Abeokuta Express Road, talking about when you are moving on that road, how you go up and you go down. These are things that I think we need to begin to look at if we really want to start working. That is the foundation, if you ask me. The potentials are there, but one, we must first discover that yes, we have those potentials. With all due respect, many of those in government today will probably be in our age bracket. How many of them even know some of these sites that we're talking about? For them to even think about going to develop them to become potential money spinners for the state. He just spoke about Olumo Rock now spinning. We know how much people make fabrics made during the Shabi festival, made during Ujudi Oba. Even this recent Oduomolowu that they did, and people made a lot of money. While I was in school, I was a member of the cultural group. There were things that we were taught. If some of my colleagues dress up as Shango, you will be surprised. And you will be spitting fire. Those were things that but in that same school today, they have scrapped cultural group. Because a principal came in and said, oh, those things are fetish.
That's what I want to say.
If you see me doing Oshun dance, I get involved in Oshun dance. And I normally go there as the hunter going to seek Oshun support for prosperity in my business. If you see me dress, you will not know that this is the person. And we were enjoying it. Because people have painted it, anything Africa is fetish. Some of us also accept those things as fetish. And it's a major challenge, with all due respect. When we talk of culture, culture can either be natural or it can be imported.
Yes.
Unfortunately for us, we kind of celebrate more of our imported culture than our natural culture.
And we have more of, rich, natural, rich cultural
area. Unique one.
Very unique. That's
Somebody was sharing with me a few days ago. He said the person is into address sales. Said somebody approached her to buy address, and she presented the address to the person, and the person said, this cannot be original, when she told her the price. 12,500. No, the last time I bought it at so place, they sold it to me at 25,000 naira. Because that place happens to be a place celebrated for tourists. So tourists will gladly come, cherish it, and put such an amount on it. But if you go to Itoku, you get it cheaper. With all due respect. Because those who are taking it there are bringing it from Itoku. So there is a lot that can. For how many years now we have been doing Adire? How come Ogun State does not have a dye factory?
I was even going to...
How come we have Ofada rice and we don't have a rice mill in Ogun State? These are the realities.
Mr. Ayade, it's something that, is so of course, unfortunate, really.
Very unfortunate.
More reason this topic is so crucial, and it's, you know, it is need for us to talk about it. Adire in Abeokuta gave, you know, the state a kind of a global recognition. That the Adire itself gained a global recognition than, you know, the place.
I don't know if you know this story. Tunde Bakari's mom had her first trip to America because of Adire.
That's what I was going to say. And of course, it has come to a level that I saw a video recently. The Osun State governor was claiming ownership of Adire. He said Adire started from. And these are things that we should just jointly come together rather than saying, well, this belongs to us and that belongs to us. And, you know, considering this, I want to also, you know, cultural diplomacy, using culture to boost Nigeria's image globally. You know, the Nollywood, I want to digress a bit, not talking about all these festivals, but of course, you know, all of these things are all encompassed when you're talking about harnessing cultural, you know, potentials. And you look at the Nollywood, you look at this, the entertainers, they have all, you know, come out of their way and think of creating film villages, you know, individually. And this is something that government should also look at. And how do you react to this? You know, talking about the need for the country to also look into creating film villages. These are, you know, income generating ventures that could also help the country, you know, boost the GDP of the country.
If you ask me, I'm more comfortable with private people creating those villages than government creating it. Because whether you like it or not, yeah, there can be the Ministry of Culture and Tourism regulating them. But in terms of managing those places and making them prosperous and effective, if you put it in the hands of government, I can assure you within a short while, it's likely going to die. But when a private person puts his or her money into it, they want to see it thrive. And that's why I'm more interested in all these actors who are building villages. We should encourage them. They can come together in clusters and put their resources together. And I want to commend them as it were, because I want to believe many of those guys got some money in the days of Jonathan and the others to boost that sector. Probably this is why many of them are now able to deploy such money into building such estates, as it were. So let's find a way of encouraging them. If they need loans, can we give them single-digit loans, make it available for them, and let them have access to such loans, use it to improve. You'll be surprised that very soon we have such various sites all over the country, and people will be coming in from outside the country.
Okay, still talking about this industry. Sorry, you know, it's kind of disturbing, really. Talking about the country, talking about Nigeria as a country, talking about, you know, the number of these entertainers, the actors going out to build film villages themselves. We have the Dele Odule from Ogun State, we have Ibrahim Chata, and all of these guys are decided to do all of these things themselves. Like Mr. Ayoade said, he suggests that we could allow individual or private sectors to do it, and the government can now do a lot of, you know, monitoring and all of other things. But talking deeply into this, Nigeria's cultural diversity is the richest in the world and yet underutilized. Countries, like I said earlier, like China, India, Brazil, and all of them use culture to drive tourism and for GDP. But now, let me now look at Nollywood industry. Again, Chief, involvement of all of these people are not clearly seen when we are talking about cultural festivals.
Yeah. So, I don't want to leave my brother out. Latif Adedimeji is also building a cultural art village, you know, here somewhere
Lagos
around
State
this
is also
area.
doing something at Aro Estate.
So, one part I will add to what my brother here stated is, we can do PPP, public-private partnership, to be able to help, because, you know, it's not very easy for this private individual to just carry all their running capital and go and develop a village. Those are what I was talking about. We have what they call long-time investment. You understand? You know, when you build a village, you build over time. If government grants of money come into it, you can develop it faster, and you can start to get results in time. Now, if you are burdened with loans, it's going to be difficult for them to be able to do their creativity. Now, when you talk about cultural diplomacy, that's part of where PPP come in. There's very little individual can do. But when government comes in, they can form partnership or what they call strategic partnership with people like UNESCO, who has fund available for all these things. So that's why government have a role to play in what we are talking about. What was the other question? I think it was one question or just one?
Yeah, it was just one question. I said involvement of these superstars would also help.
Well, I mean, they are the one really driving our culture,
That's what
to
I
be
was
honest
gonna
with
say.
you. So that's why I have emphasized over time with what they call PPP. The government need to actually invite them. Like I said, when we treat it like a business, the government, you bring chief executive when we want to start a business, right? When Governor Abiodun wanted to start all this industrial corridor, he brought people from overseas, he brought white, Indian, Chinese, and everybody. So the next thing we need to do is to treat it like a business, recognize these folk, bring them to the table. They are the creative part of this cultural heritage we're talking about. So bring them to the round table, ask them what do they need to be able to drive this industry. You'll be surprised what will come out of their mouth and what we can do.
Before we move away from that now, talking about the PPP, private
Partnership
okay. Talking about that now, what can cultural initiatives that be linked with to economic development programs, like if we have someone that wants to, the private investor that wants to come in, so what are the initiatives you feel should be linked to economic development? Because I discovered that maybe the private partnership is not coming because they do not see what they intend to see in this sector, I mean in the cultural sector. So what are those cultural initiatives that could be linked to the economy?
Let me just take this, I talk about low-hanging fruit a lot. There are things we are doing right now that could generate a lot of income for us if it is properly harnessed, which is the topic. Take our festival, for example.
Okay.
The last Lishabi festival we did, apart from people in town, which is over, we estimate about 700,000 people, there are 55 million around the world watching Lishabi festival within that 48-hour span. We have the back end, we're able to see it. And we said, unusual country that you not think about, which people from Japan, Indonesia, like, what are they looking for? But because of the money invested into pre-event publicity, that's why I talk about orientation and education and publicity. You see, when you have a business and you did not advertise it, you know what happens? It's like a blind man winking in the dark. Nobody will see you. So you first have to let the people see or know what you are selling. So I would recommend that our festivals, particularly in Ogun State, need to be properly packaged. They're not packaged, we just treat it like fun events. But when it is looked at as a business, you will see the kind of development that will come in. The private people will come in when they're able to see the analysis. One of them is what I just told you. When we go to company and talk to them, like, okay, 55 million people around the world watching this, they say, where is it? Switch your laptop and let them see. It's something you can see. That's what they call, when you bring tech into business, that's what you can achieve. So we need to first package what we have properly, sell it, or give it a lot of visibilities. Then the private capital will come and say, oh, there's potential here. We can invest more money to scale it up. That's what I think I would recommend.
Okay, so
Do you know they can even package the event into soft copies and people will buy all over the world?
okay,
And to not leave that alone, when you talk about that as a festival itself, then it now metamorphosizes into the tourism industry. Because when it's packaged and advertised properly, people around the world can plan their holidays to coincide with all these festivals we are doing. And what will happen to that? We get more foreigners. If it is packaged properly, if you can pay in UK for now, for all the events that you are coming to look at in Abeokuta in pounds, and all you did was to just, from ticket sale, buying airline tickets, to picking them from the airport, to getting their hotel registered and everything, and we have an account they paid into the United States. You imagine the amount of foreign exchange that we'll have. So those are what we talk about, packaging it properly to make it, you know, attractive and economically advantageous for the citizen.
okay, to Mr. Shoroke now. You mentioned something, and I've been waiting for my turn to ask you. Because it's just as if you see my thoughts that we have seen our culture as being fetish, being having spiritual means or something. I don't even know how people describe it, because when you see just you participating in a cultural festival, wearing Oshun, dressing like an Oshun, a maiden, or you perform shogo or oya or something, if you are in if you are a kind of a religious person, even your people may not relate with you again. They see you as if you have swallowed a kind of evil spirit. So now, changing our mentality, because they said we need to package. If you want to package it, what we don't know, what we don't believe in, we cannot package it for others to believe in it. So now, how do we change the mentality of people from seeing our culture as being fetish, as being spiritually inclined or something? I don't know.
He spoke about packaging. Many of the people who are practicing it, you realize that many of them are really not lettered. We leave it to the unlettered. At times, if we get the lettered involved, some of these things we will understand it. Some of this is part of the challenge that we've had with Adire. Those who are doing Adire in Itoku, they are trying to hide the technology, even for people that will help them develop it. They believe it will be taken away from them. Meanwhile, if you do a research into Adire, you might be able to develop a machine that will do mass production of Adire as against the local production that we have been doing for centuries. So this is part of and some of us who are lettered also, do we really bother to focus our research on some of these areas? There are people that are doing cultural studies. Can they begin to do studies into some of these things? And when you do study,
the lettered that see it as being on the evil side.
When you do the study, you will open. Somebody once told me some time ago that if you study Yoruba to a particular extent, you might start getting into the occult.
You see,
that is a mentality. Meanwhile, there was a bishop that wrote something about Yoruba history, and he quoted some things that if I begin to quote it, people will say, he's quoting incantation, and the man was a bishop. So you see, it's an understanding. The way people, over the years, with all due respect, foreigners have projected our cultural background to us. And some of us, even despite being lettered, we still believe that, because they have presented it that way, everything about us is fetish. I'm not saying there are no fetish aspect of it, don't get me wrong. But it's not the way, it's not as bad as it is being painted. There are people that are of value, things that are of value in our culture, that we just throw away the baby and the bathwater because of the way it's being presented to us. Can we take out those things that we think are fetish and look at those who are of benefit and value and begin to project them and celebrate them? I mean, when I was in secondary school and I was doing Oshun dance, I do it happily. If you still ask me to perform today, I will still perform.
Maybe you perform.
You pay me for that now.
You would like to add to that, okay?
So there's something they call intellectual property. That aspect of it, we've not fully developed it. Because the reason why people are scared to reveal what they know is because it's not patent. And you have to make that process a little bit more seamless. You should be able to get on your phone, develop something, upload it, and see if it meets the criteria, and own it. So when that happens, people will feel free to release what they know. Second part is that you talk about this, is it the Adire and the rest of it? I want to say this in the best way I can really put it. The Adire that we wear, it's not something we just started now. And the Chinese already scale it for us. They already start producing fake one, which KBC is vehemently fighting them for. But charity begins at home. How about all of us individually start promoting our culture? When you go out, wear what we make, wear what is indigenous. That would be one way to do it. I travel this way. And you can imagine the amount of people that come to me from the airport, want to take a picture with me and stuff. Before, 4 years ago, I was always in my suit and all kind of stuff. But self-awareness, when you're aware of what is going on around you and what you want to promote, it makes it easy. The second part is The fetish part is something else. However, culture is culture, either fetish or not. Every other thing is acculturation. We brought all this thing onto ourselves. We now believe that the Oyibo culture is superior to our own.
Even they are also fetishes.
And they are also coming, listen now, they are now coming here to learn Ifa.
Yeah.
And taking it back to, particularly when you go to Brazil, a lot of them, they use it against us. When you see they are doing weddings.
Not only even Yoruba, they are studying Yoruba now.
So they are good with documentation when we are scared of documentation.
Exactly,
So they are good with documentation. That's how they're able to own the discovery of River Niger. Then we have all of them also copying our culture. Now, when you watch some of these things on social media, you see Oyibo doing wedding with our clothes, dancing, our music, and so the one we embrace it. If you package it, if we own it ourselves and promote it ourselves, then there's a role of government, which I always challenge the National Orientation Agency. That is what they're established for: promotion of Nigerian value, basically. And they have budget for this thing, so we should challenge them to do what they hire to do.
Exactly. You know, thank you so much, Chief and Mr. Ayade, for that very insightful contribution. Yes, like you said, the country, Nigeria, has a very rich history, but lack documentation. You know, these are things that is really bordering on, say, people misunderstand or misinterpret what the culture, you know, the cultural values are. You know, some say fetish, like the Solar rightly put, you know, and I continue to wonder that why would you say something is fetish when you're talking about the cultural value, the culture? They say your culture is your identity, and of course the way you appear, people understand that you are from and you are this and all of that. So my own is that we should do more. We are talking about a culture, we're practicing what we believe in, but we should do more in documenting it, at least for generations yet unborn to understand what we are talking about. But I want to take you back a bit, and I want to ask Chief this question. You know, there are risk factors when we're talking about PPP arrangement, that is public-private partnership approach to harnessing cultural potential for socio-economic benefit. And the risks are many when you talk about people coming from the outside to come and invest in our culture, to come and they understand that you know, talking about security, level of insecurity is something to also think of. A lot of things are there to talk about. So the Nigerian
justice system
is another thing. Nigerian Orientation Agency, that is NOAA, not doing enough to sensitize people and let them understand. These are, you know, a lot of factors. I could remember in 2009, if I am not mistaken, there was a huge Lishabi festival that, you know, involves this private communication company that was sponsored the entire program. But I could remember I attended and I saw what happened at the cultural center, the venue of the event that year. There was a little bit of crisis, a security issue there. So all of these things are factors. So what do you think government, what are the roles of government to ensure that we are able to, you know, have seamless relationship, seamless investment coming from the private sector to help boost these cultural, you know, potentials?
Thank you very much. I'm going to take it from the last aspect you mentioned, which is security. When we talk about infrastructure, government creating an enabling environment, that is one of the things we're talking about. Individual private security cannot supersede government owners. So they control the apparatus of government, the security architecture. So if you are developing an industry, you have to make sure you address the fear of potential investor. One of them is security. So that is where government comes into play. Now, when you talk about the promotion itself, he's mentioned it a lot. I was taught from my elementary level to primary 6 in Yoruba. It doesn't stop me from speaking English. But now, the child starts walking, he can't even walk, they're teaching him English. Or he's speaking vernacular. That's one of our problems. I think we should go back to where we started.
The minister is even making it worse now.
Yoruba should, I mean, your language, your mother's tongue should be the mode of education from 1 to 6. Nothing is going to spoil. Sorry to use that language. I was taught, I was taught in the village. I speak Egba language. It doesn't stop me from communicating with white people. They even say I speak better English than them. So we have to first own our culture. You know, I'm going back to that. We have to own our culture, and we are the chief promoter. Nobody's going to do it for us. If we don't do it, there's no one coming to do it. So we have to start. Their reorientation start with our pupils and with our policy makers who are there sitting and making policy that they didn't go through, because most of the people running our life now, they went through these things. But suddenly, acculturation has now bastardized our culture. It's not bad to copy some culture, but you cannot negate your own original culture. So there's a lot of cultural division going on, and we need to fight back on that.
Can I quickly add to that? There's an area you mentioned earlier that I think government also needs to focus on, and that is the area of patenting. There are a lot of things that are of cultural value that people will not allow you to get to the bottom of it because of the patent rights. For example, Professor Lambo did a lot of research with many of those traditional healers and got a lot of herbs, and those things are there today. They are still being used up to today. So the patent right has to be protected. Even among many of our actors and the rest, do we protect their rights? Exactly. Intellectual property is very, very important. Government needs to focus on that.
Yes, quickly before, because you know, our time is fast spent on the program, and we have to, Chief, you know, nowadays, when you look at the advancement in technology, we now have technology meets tradition now, because people are beginning to see what AI can do better. I spoke about documentation earlier on, but now, you know, making all of these things reality, it takes a lot. We can't go back to, you know, we can't go back. We can't reverse the time. These are things that has happened, and it's like it cannot be reversed again. So talking about documentation, but how can digital tools like virtual reality, like the AI, you know, augment the reality of today? You know, how do we expose this use of information technology tools to ensure that we are also not going to deny the generations yet unborn what they should know about this culture, you know, involving technology to achieve all of this? Do you think it's possible, and how?
Well, it is possible. AI, people always, you know, emphasize AI. AI only works when you feed in the data. So we first have to develop those things, put it in the digital space before AI can now, you know, use algorithm to manage it. So we should not be scared of digitalization. Actually, like I made an example here, the last HIV we did, around the world, about 55 million people were watching it. How does that happen? It's through technology. It's through social media. That's the market. It's true. And this year, you'll be amazed how many people are coming. People are booking their ticket already for next year. So, and what happened because of digitalization? We use digital we use algorithm to market Lishabede, and it went viral. So that we have to understand how it works. But more importantly, we first have to own it. We have to develop it. Because if you put inferior thing to the world, they will not buy it. You have to develop it into a standardized form before you can start to export it.
Okay, because of time, I just want you to quickly tell us the opportunities that exist for international collaboration, the private partnership, and even if we really project our culture the way we're supposed to. Let's talk about the opportunities.
The opportunities are endless. The first thing that I've realized is that it boosts the country image. You know, once you are doing something with our culture, it's like football. There's aggregation of people that comes around, oh, I'm Nigerian, oh, I'm Nigerian. It gives you pride. Then when you do strategic partnership with international organizations like the world, like the UNESCO and the likes, they have budget for all these things. Some of these things the government need, they will fund it. You know, if it is for promotion, you already know that even the international community are investing a lot of money around the world in preservation of culture. Look at England, for instance. If you go to London, their buildings are as old as 1800. But here, we just demolish everything. There's a historic building in Ijema. It's called the Iwero. Look at how run down that place is. That is where private people can come into it. If they will let it go, revamp it, make it a tourist attraction. This is where the first newspaper was published. This is what it's called. This is what, all those things are there. We talk about the Ogun River Basin. It's right there, underdeveloped or non-developed. We have to first, create that environment, develop our tourism industry, the cultural hubs that I talk about for people to come. And when that happens, what's going to happen? We will generate foreign exchange. We're talking about dollar to naira and all this crisis now, borrowing money overseas. What about if you have seeded fund in culture overseas? We have cultural embassies around the world. What are they doing? Those are the job of all these ambassadors and attachés that have been appointed. So the problem is that even our government, I'm not sure they're hiring the right people to manage our government. And I'm sorry to say that. Because you'll be wondering whether are these folks brain dead when we are looking for money and there's money right in front of you. You understand? But we are addicted to oil, even though it's destroying our environment. So that does not allow us to focus on other things. I'm hoping with technology and private sector investment, we can scale our culture in a way that it will benefit the generality of the people.
Thank you so much. And finally, let me quickly say that you're going to give your parting shot on the show today, of course, and the parting shot will come in adversarial kind of, you're going to advise the government. Government instability, policies of government are some of the factors that is not enabling this, cultural potentials to thrive, and, we can't just keep short about it. We need to talk about it. So what policies are currently missing? What do you think government should do better in terms of promoting, cultural economy and unlock the potential of, this cultural benefit?
Is that going to be my parting shot?
Yes, that should be your parting shot.
Before I go, I want to say a big congratulations to our Baba Alake on the 20th anniversary coronation of his coming into throne of his forefather. And to all Egba people, that congratulations to us. We wish him many more years on the throne, and we wish him another 20 years in good health.
Amen.
Talking about what do we do now to harness these resources, I've told you it starts with the appointment of the right people to manage our cultural artifact or cultural industry. And of course, politicians are great, but I think they should find cultural enthusiasts, people that understand what they are doing with culture. They should understand people that understand what they're doing with business, to turn our cultures or festival that we have into a business, not just looking at it as something that makes us feel good. We should invest more in education of our children on our culture, and we should educate ourselves, like I've said before. We should reorientate our society on how they should promote their culture. It starts with your appearance. It starts with your language, how you teach your children. Some of our children cannot even speak Yoruba.
Okay. So, Mr. Ayade, 30 seconds to do yours. 30 seconds.
I want to join in to congratulate the Alake also. But let's also look at the direction of research. Because everything must start from research. Research will open up your mind, open up your space to know what exactly has to be done. Ijaye is there. They produce a lot of pots. These are pots that can be exported. Exactly. So
clay pots. Thank you so much, Mr. Ayade. And of course, that will be the size of the program. Culture is more than heritage, and it is an untapped gold mine. If Nigeria invests deliberately in cultural industries, we can unlock massive revenue, create jobs, boost tourism, and reposition our nation globally. And that is the size of the program today. It's another interesting package. Of course, you have enjoyed it and you have heard from our resource person. From me, it's goodbye from this side, and Doisola.
Okay, don't forget, as you have heard today, that culture is your identity, is my identity, it is our identity. Please, when you go out there, don't see culture as a fetish aspect or is something that has a spiritual inclination. No, it says what we are. Doisola Ogumbadewa is my name, and I'm saying bye for now.
Bye-bye.